Coming up next on Win News, wire road barriers on the highway at Bendalong, a man assaulted in broad daylight at Bomaderry, and Sheffield Shield action coming to Wollongong.
Across the Illawarra, South Coast and Southern Highlands, this is Win News.
Tonight, wire road barriers being installed on the highway at Bendalong. A man seriously injured in a hang glider crash. And a Bomaderry man mugged in a daylight attack. Good evening, I'm Geoff Phillips. Also coming up in this bulletin, how volunteers and prisoners have been making a difference protecting Australia's endangered dingoes. Work has begun installing wire road barriers on the Princess Highway at Bendalong, where 5 people were killed in a head-on crash on Boxing Day. The urgent works are being completed in unprecedented time as the RMS pushes to have it finished by Easter.
Drilling, cutting and hammering into place.
Samara Gardner, Win News.
Dashcam vision has captured the dramatic moment a car slammed into another vehicle on the M1 at Unanderra. The driver in the red hatchback was initially in the emergency stopping lane, then forced another vehicle to swerve as it crossed 3 times in an apparent attempted U-turn back into oncoming traffic. The car was T-boned as it tried to make the manoeuvre. Police are urging motorists to abide by the road rules and be wary of other drivers.
Pay a little bit more attention, especially in and around roadworks, which is also occurring on the M1, both north and southbound around the Canalga area.
A female driver was treated for minor injuries while an elderly man suffered facial injuries. Both were taken to Wollongong Hospital. Homes, ocean pools and even Wynn Stadium have been identified as being at risk from rising sea levels in Wollongong City Council's recently completed Coastal Zone Management Plan. Shoreline erosion is expected to have major environmental impacts on the region within the next 30 to 80 years.
The Illawarra's coastline is one of its main draw cards, but rising sea levels may eventually force a retreat away from the water.
Still ahead on Win News, the Illawarra preparing the welcome mat for one of the biggest ships to visit Port Kembla. And what is it about guinea pigs? Some of the state's best have been on show. For the second time in as many months, Wollongong will welcome more than 4,000 cruise passengers as they disembark at Port Kembla on Sunday. Explorer of the Seas will follow in the footsteps of Radiance of the Seas, which docked at the end of January. Destination Wollongong surveyed those passengers and found only a handful had ever visited the Illawarra before, but most said they would be happy to return.
It's very exciting to think that our reputation as being one of the friendliest cruise line destinations in the world virtually is cementing itself as a definite truth.
Explorer of the Seas at 138,000 tonnes will be one of the largest ships to ever come into the harbour, and the visit is expected to boost the local economy by $800,000. Volunteers at Bargo Dingo Sanctuary have been given some much needed help from an unlikely source. Berrima Correctional Centre has teamed up with a not-for-profit organisation, putting in more than 300 hours of work to clean up the facility.
It's feeding time at the sanctuary.
Jordan Matthews, Win News.
Kristy is here now with sport, and the Dragons players prepare to come up against former teammate Josh Dugan.
Geoff, it's certainly adding some extra spice to the local derby with Cronulla. Also, Carlborough's Wright brothers in action at the Quicksilver Pro on the Gold Coast. And Nick Maddinson preparing for a Sheffield Shield call-up as New South Wales prepares to take on Queensland in Wollongong. George Illawarra is bracing for a fired-up Josh Dugan in Thursday night's local derby against Cronulla. Coach Paul McGregor naming his extended squad to face the Sharks.
He proved a handful for the Cowboys last week. Now Josh Dugan is out to terrorise his former club. Corey Hammond, Win News.
And that's your Tuesday Sport, Geoff.
Kristy, thank you for that. Weather is next with Tanya, and a cooler day across the region today.
It was, Geoff. The cloud cover will hang around tomorrow, but it may be a couple of degrees warmer. We'll take a look at the details after the break.
This weather update, proudly brought to you by the new Toyota Prado. Luxury that goes anywhere.
Hello again. It was a cloudy day east of the Divide and you captured this spectacular view from the front porch. If you'd like to enter the Edwards Mowers Weather Pick of the Day competition, send your photo and contact details to weathercomp@wintv.com.au and tell us in 25 words or less what you love most about that location. Let's have a look at the details from today. It's a bit of rainfall about overnight. The highest falls in the region to 9 a.m. We're at Bellambi and Mount Pleasant with 27 millimetres into the gauge. A little bit less elsewhere, but those showers did continue in some locations today. Top of 17 for Goulburn, 21 the high for Ulladulla. Winds gusted to 33 kilometres an hour at Narooma. It saw a top of 22 degrees, 25 the high for Bega, Merimbula and Eden. On the satellite, a high south of the Bight continues to extend a ridge into western New South Wales, while a second high is situated out over the Tasman Sea. A low pressure trough on the synoptic lies across the state's east with another over central parts of the coast, and they will remain slow moving for the next day or two. Overcast on the waters tomorrow. There is a medium chance of showers on the Illawarra coast throughout the day and the Eden coast in the evening, as well as the chance of a storm on Eden and Batemans Bay waters later in the day. Taking a look at the forecast for the Illawarra and Southern Highlands, overcast with a medium chance of showers. Barrel slipping to 14, heading for a high of 24, 25 the forecast top for Albion Park after 16 degrees overnight. Taking a look at the south coast, cloudy tomorrow with a slight chance of a shower and the possibility of an afternoon storm. A low of 15 for Batemans Bay, heading for a top of 25, 27 the forecast high for Bega. For Wollongong, the chance of a morning shower or two. Sunrise will be at 6:54 a.m. with the sun setting at 7:16 p.m. And taking a look at the days ahead, some cloud cover about on Thursday with the chance of a shower later in the day. Friday will be cloudy with the chance of a shower again, and partly cloudy conditions on Saturday. So those clouds do look to be hanging around this week, Geoff.
That was the long-range forecast. Tanya, thank you. And that is Win News for Tuesday the 13th of March. To view some of our reports, visit the Win News Illawarra Facebook page. I'm Geoff Phillips. Thanks for watching Win. Good night.
This has been a Win News presentation. Win News, Regional Australia's #1 news source.